no matter what I'd done in the past, no matter how bad it was. You know, nothing really seemed like it was going right. I was traveling all over the country, and I didn't know how long I was going to stay in one place to the next. When things would start getting really tough, that's when I was ready to run. You know, I just feel like I've been this big kid running around my whole life. Very bad things happened when I was young. It's like that guilt can never go away. I did too much wrong. I mean, there's just a lot of sad stuff that's happening in my life.
How does that make you feel?
Sad. I'm 50 years old. You know, it's really messed up my mind.
God's grace doesn't always look the same, or rather, it doesn't always look the way we expect it to. We wanted to capture the raw and unexpected ways that grace can unfold. The Grace is Greater documentary is a real story following Michael, a man living in a homeless and recovery center. It's not a story where everything is perfectly tied up in a neat bow. It's a little bit messy because grace works that way. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you." Sufficient could also be phrased as just enough. And sometimes we only see God in the dramatic or miraculous moments, and He can do those things, but God often works in the daily and the mundane. In those moments, we often overlook. Moments where we're ready to give up or give in, but God gives us just enough grace to get to the next moment. And so the Grace is Greater documentary is one of those stories. Michael, in the world's eyes, has every reason to give up and to give in, but God's grace is strong enough to overcome addiction. It's sweet enough to dissolve our bitterness. It's powerful enough to redeem our past. He can do it for you because grace is always greater.
This was the closest that I found to any kind of shelter. I'm just sitting there trying to think whether I should jump back on the bus and head down to Nashville just to be a little closer going south. But then I was just thinking that, you know, I mean, what would be the difference? I mean, I don't know anybody here. I didn't know anybody there. Be failing at life, and, you know, the thoughts I was having wasn't good thoughts, and I was really close to the river, and there was a few times that I felt like just walking up onto that bridge and jumping right off of it. It was seeming like the best idea at the time. I remember exactly what I did wrong when I tried it the first time, so I planned on not making that same mistake this time. There was no turning back. It was like, I gotta figure something out. You know, God gave up on me.
So standing in the place where you were homeless at one time, what are some of the things that you're feeling? What are some of the emotions that you have right now?
At that point, things was really bad. What I was doing wasn't working. You know, that was my wake-up call to just change. There's a lot of things that I looked at like I thought wasn't really wrong, wasn't being a bad guy or anything, but, you know, I'm seeing now that it was.
Michael, finish the sentence. Grace is greater than what?
I guess I would say grace is greater than what I thought was great for me. Just the hope of, you know, having my kids back in my life. That's where grace is gonna come in. You know, this is the closest that I have been in this country to my kids in almost 20 years. I feel that it needs to be done. I just don't feel that I'm ready to do it right now, but yeah, it's definitely sobering. Love you, man. No, I love you too, brother.
I think Michael's rock bottom wasn't necessarily some binge that he went on or some relationship that just frayed. I think rock bottom for Michael was just coming to the sense that he has no capacity in himself to do anything different. When it comes to reconciling with family, it can be more frightening because they're just afraid of just the rejection. A lot of guys don't even get to this point. A lot of guys never get to the point where they've even had any measure of success in overcoming life-enslaving sin, like being an alcoholic. I want this to be like a worshipful, growing experience where he clings to God more tightly. And reconciliation with family is a great way to do that, I think.